Oh, I see. I see. That'll be fine. Way off that distance, you're going up the water. It's just so damn cute. Well, put that damn thing down for the late thing.
This feels good.
Really?
Yeah.
No. You know what? I guess
I'm cold. I put on the sweater.
I get you. That one right there. Yeah. Okay, okay.
little bit about the area if you want.
Yes.
So that island dead ahead of us, that's called Baker's Island. That's the only inhabited island out there.
Oh, I heard about that before coming here.
Yeah,
Yes.
the only island people live on. It's called 55 homes, but there's summer homes only.
I can imagine the price of the real estate out there. It's unimaginable.
Well, you know, it hardly ever comes up for sale because they're kind of passed down to families. So you never really hear property coming up for sale.
I see.
So it's a very private island. If you don't own property there, if it's invited to come out there, you try to take a rowboat, a kayak, or anything out there, and you try to go ashore, they come right down and they have you over there and ask you to leave.
So do they have vehicles?
No,
out there?
there's no roads, there's no vehicles except for maybe two people that golf. There's grass paths, and there's no electricity. There's no phone service, but everybody has cell phones now, so it's not a big deal. But
No electricity.
No, they have generators, and some people are starting to put some solar panels up.
So are the houses on the outside of the island?
No, they're all over, really. Mainly on the inside. If you looked on Google Earth, you could see it. You'd see where all the houses are. But it's some really pretty decent home. I mean, you'd think they'd be little shacks, but they're not. There's some pretty nice houses out there. But they're very private because there's no police department out there, no fire department. You know, they're on their own. So if people come on the island and start breaking into homes and causing problems, they're on their own. So they're very, very
Tribal.
That's the word for it, yeah.
But the thing is, what is in the
They've got to call the harbor master, and it's going to take him probably a half hour to get out there.
And then they got to go.
Then you got to take it.
Boston or something?
No, it's a big hospital here in Salem. But still, that's a long time. So it's going to be probably a minimum of an hour before you get to a medical facility.
That's something to think about. It's like they're acting out there.
Yeah. No, they're truly on their own.
Which I'm sure there are, because those can afford to live out here.
There's no bars or restaurants. There's no stores. They have what they call a living general store. Shed that you can get out and probably get paper towels and maybe buy some ketchup and mayonnaise or something. But there's really nothing to speak of. So you got to bring everything out with you. The only way to get there is by boat. So it's really rural and rustic and private.
That's just summer home.
Just summer, they do have what you call a caretaker taken out there in the winter time. But, right, he's kind of like spends the winter out there, which can be pretty crazy.
I bet.
Yeah. The lighthouses. All lighthouses in the country are owned by the federal government. They're overseen by the Coast Guard. But they're trying to get rid of them all now because they're kind of an antiquated form of navigation. So they're selling them all off. And they sold that one to a non-profit group called the Essex County Heritage Area, which this is Essex County. It's kind of a non-profit group that oversees historic properties in the county. And, so they bought it off the federal government. So that 10 acres of land at the very tip, you can probably see there's two lighthouses with red roofs at that end. It's a lighthouse. So that's 10 acres of federal land that people on the island have no say over. So when they sold it to that non-profit group, they started running tours out there. But the people on the island wouldn't let them use their dog. Nice dog. Wouldn't let them use it. So they bought this boat that looks like a World War II landing craft. They run it up on the beach right below the lighthouse, and they drop the front and get on and go up there. And it's not a sandy beach either. They're beach stones around, surrounded beach stones. So you got to have a little bit of agility to even get off the thing. And then you got to climb up kind of a steep embankment, as you can see, to get to the lighthouse. So you can't be, wheelchair or something like that.
Right.
You have to have.
It's not wheelchair accessible.
No, not at all. And you can stay in the lighthouse keeper's house overnight if you want.
So there's a lighthouse keeper. Is it the same guy that's the?
No, there is.
There's a lighthouse keeper.
In the summertime, they have somebody out there kind of giving the tours, and they stay there for the summer.
Do they
and
spend
the lights
the night
still
kind of
work.
like an old school lighthouse keeper?
Exactly. And you can stay out there too if you'd like. In the lighthouse keeper's house. There's two of them. So the guy that's overseeing the property stays in one, and the other one goes to the other. and this island right here has got a YMCA day camp on it. They bring kids out there in the summertime and dump them off in the day.
Oh.
Pick them up at the end of the day.
Now, is there any habitation at all there?
Just you know, the YMCA day camp.
Just that. Right. Okay. Okay.
And then all these other smaller islands. This is Coney Island right ahead of us.
Coney
Yeah,
Island.
believe it or not, that's the name, Coney Island.
Not that Coney Island.
No, C-O-N-E-Y, spelled the same way, but some of the locals here in Marblehead especially would call it Coney Island, so I don't know if it's Coney or Coney, but it's spelled C-O-N-E-Y. And Eagle Island, and this is the Hayes Rock up here.
The Hayes Rock.
Yeah.
You got an anecdote for the Hayes
Yes.
Rock? I'm sure you do.
The main shipping channel for Salem Harbor comes down through the islands here, and then you pass these rocks to the and if you return too soon, back a couple hundred years ago, where they didn't have GPS and good navigation,
Yeah.
you'd run up on the rocks. If you turn too hastily, you'd run up on the rocks.
Whoa.
They call it Hayes Rock.
Hence the name.
Yeah.
Right.
So, because this whole harbor, this is called Salem Sound right now.
Uh-huh.
We came out of the harbor, but now we're in Salem Sound. And it's not all that deep here, especially for Hayes Rock.
Yeah, she
Right
does
below
rock.
the sun. That whole area is pretty shallow. And at low tide, which is right now, this is approximately at only 5 feet deep. So, at low tide, we will mark all across here with this boat.
How much do we draw?
6 feet. Yeah, we could run aground right there. And like where we are right now probably is about 20, 25 feet. But there's a 10-foot tidal range here. So at high tide, see how on the island the dirt lands? Dirt, you know, that's lighter above it. It's low tide. At high tide, you won't see any of that dirty part because it's 10 feet more water. Every 6 hours, 10 feet of water comes in.
Well, that's when we were leaving, because I had gone out early yesterday morning and walked out. Strip of land with a little lighthouse right where we left them. And as we were leaving, I was looking and going, oh, there's people walking out there. Yesterday it was, it was all covered in water. And yesterday morning.
It's high tide, and then 6 hours later it's low tide, and then 6 hours later it's high tide. So through a 12-hour cycle, it goes from high back to high.
Okay.
Low back to
We were talking about the lighthouse with the habitation. I've lost it.
on the other side of Coney Island right now.
Are we going to go close enough to get that lighthouse?
Yeah.
I grew up on Lake Huron. Completely different than this, right? We don't have tide.
Which I'm surprised, because that's huge bodies of water. And why the tide, the moon doesn't affect that like it does here?
Yeah, you would think it would.
It would. That's huge bodies of water. And there's more lighthouses on Lake Michigan, I think, than the whole United States combined. There's a huge number of lighthouses on the Great Lakes.
Yeah, there's one in the town that I grew up in. I went up there last year and went out.
Yeah. Where do you live now?
Oh, Atlanta.
We're in Atlanta, Georgia, Totally landlocked.
Yeah.
She had never been Salem before.
Oh,
My dad had
It's beautiful.
27-foot sailboat when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But it's been 30 years since I sailed.
Yeah. You got a pot down ahead? There's lots of trap right there.
Oh,
try to avoid them because they can get
okay.
wrapped up
Right
in
there, the flag there?
Yeah, some of them have flags, some don't, but they're everywhere. If you look around, you'll see them everywhere.
Yeah,
So all the boats are anchored in the harbor. You just go in there and anchor anywhere you want?
Those are moorings. They're not at anchor.
Oh.
Moorings usually a big cement block.
Oh,
Chain
okay.
attached that goes up to one of the balls, big white balls. And those people, that's like their permanent spot.
Okay.
And so they, instead of having a dock like where we left them,
Let them get a little closer. We're going to lure them in.
Oh, with the cannon?
And then after we blast them, we have to yell, let's stop.
what's that?
So, after we blast them, I'll say 1, 2, 3, and we'll all yell, huzzah, together. Because that's what you do. 1812, you yell, huzzah.
Get a picture of Coney Island. At
Yeah,
low
Coney
tide. At
Island.
low tide.
You buy a mooring or you rent?
Yeah, you rent. You can do either one. You can buy one or rent one. And that's your spot. And when you come in at the end of the day, you hook up to that mooring ball and then you have to get either have your own little boat to get yourself back in, or hire water taxi to come up here.
Okay.
Launch service around. So this boat is called the Wen and Dip. Anybody here interested in history?
We are. Nobody else wants to hear your stories.
This boat was owned by General George Salem.
It's going to be loud. You want to be a little further away from that gun stroke. You can slide down here. It'll be very loud. All right, Nick, round the house. Here we go. I know. All right, on three. 1, 2, 3.
Huzzah!
So that was owned by General Patton.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And,
Wow.
He had it built in 1939. You know who he was, right? General Patton?
Yeah.
World War II.
Yep.
And he never got the named it the Wen and Dip, meaning when he gets back from the war and if he survives, he can sail around the world.
Very interesting. Interesting.
He never came back from Europe. He died in a car accident in Germany afterwards.
Oh.
Of all things.
Yeah.
You get
Yeah,
through a
he got
war,
through the whole war,
and
he
you died
dies
in a
in
damn
a-
car.
Yeah, he died in a car accident. So it's been
That's
owned by his
crazy.
family, and several private people have owned it, and I think a school owned it at one time. Now it's owned by a similar to what we're doing. They take people.
Okay.
Isn't that pretty? That island.
Yeah.
They call it seabirds. They play so many
little boat on there.
little
Somebody lost their
seabirds on
boat.
it.
See it? That little rowboat up there, the white thing.
I do.
Somebody must have lost it and washed ashore.
Huh.
But this is a good example of how different the tide is.
Right.
The high tide, which would be 6 hours from now, you won't see any of the dark area at all.
Just the white rocks. Right. Wow.
So, you got the understand of seagulls here. Is there albatross? What are some of these other seabirds? There's no
The
albatross.
black ones are called
Cormorants, right? Okay.
And mostly it's cormorants or seagulls.
Okay,
That's about
I was
it.
just wondering.
There's some ospreys. You know what ospreys are?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. We catch an osprey nest.
Oh.
We'll show them to you in a
They're
minute.
fishing birds.
Yeah, they're like eagles on the sea, and they come up with a fish.
I know, they're beautiful.
But there's another seagulls. They're like pigeons. They're everywhere.
Well, see, I never see seagulls. So you see them every day.
The
But to
other
me, it's like, oh, look at the seagull.
The
That's a
fifth
big deal.
lighthouse. That's the one
I
there?
see
It's the
it.
fifth lighthouse.
Man, I can hardly see it at all.
It's a narrow lighthouse. It's like a
It's
tube.
a very skinny one, yeah.
Tube, but it's
Like a Space Needle in Seattle or something.
supported by struts, which you can't really see, like steel struts.
Oh,
If you're up
that's
close,
different.
you had binoculars.
Yeah, that's not the way I visualize a
No, it's-
lighthouse at all.
Kind of an ugly lighthouse.
It's kind of an ugly lighthouse.
It's very ugly.
It's not one of the picturesque, old school ones.
No. The one out here is at Baker's Island.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I could tell from
So this one, they can't go up the inside of it? They have to go up the outside of the staircase
No,
or
you
something?
can.
You
There's
can?
a,
Okay.
There's a spiral staircase up the center of that tube.
Oh, okay.
This is your ship.
No.
Oh, I don't know why. I guess I just got the impression.
So I was in an antique store earlier and I saw the book. He wrote the book, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He wrote a book about it, about privateering,
Right,
which
yeah.
he would come up and talk to you about.
Okay. I actually bought the book.
Oh, did
I was
you?
like, oh, that's the boat we're going on.
Yeah,
Buy
good.
it. Yeah.
You'll see pictures of, like, half that book is about privateering, and half of it's about us building this boat.
right.
There's a picture of me and they're building it.
Oh,
13
nice.
years.
Okay. Oh, so you helped build it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what privateering is?
Pirating.
It is. It's legalized
But,
pirating.
right.
Legalized pirating during
So they
the
would,
war.
like the Americans would go seize British ships.
Yes,
Right?
or whoever you were at war with.
yeah.
But it had to be only people you were at war with, or you were considered a pirate.
Okay.
And you had to get a commission from the government to do it. So it had to
Okay.
be all done legally and properly.
So when you brought back the goods or whatever,
Prize,
goods
yeah, they call it a prize.
okay. Did the government take a
Yes.
portion of it?
Yep. So, and the idea was not to damage the vessel at all, because if you damage it, now you're ruining your own prize. So the idea was to capture it without a fight, and bring it back, bring it to a court of law, have it run through the court, make sure you had proper paperwork to be a privateer and did it legally. And they'd auction off the boat and the cargo.
crew and the owners of the boat, of the privateer, would split the profits, and the government would get duties on the goods.
Okay.
Which is how they made their money back then. They didn't make it with income tax because they didn't have it. The federal government operated strictly on import duties of goods coming into the country. So, say there was $50,000 worth of lumber in that ship, they tax them on that, and then so the government gets a piece too. So everybody got a piece of money, and they were happy, and they were interrupting the commerce of the countries they were at war with.
Okay.
So
what would they do with the crew of the ship?
They'd take them prisoner, and they wouldn't cut their throat, throw them.
Okay.
They were treated as prisoners of war, and if they behaved themselves, they weren't hurt. And they'd either try to get rid of them, like when the war first started, War of 1812, they were going up the Maine coast of British Canada. They might try to get them, put them ashore someplace in Maine and say, find your way back to Canada. Because they didn't want to feed them and watch them.
Right.
Or later on in the war, they'd keep them and use them in prisoner of war exchanges, like war exchange 100 places for 100 yards. So, as long as they behave themselves, they wouldn't too bad.
Another drink? Are those drinks back there still?
Yeah, but where's the trash receptacle?
You don't want to keep those? Those are your
No,
I've got one in my
I
bag.
want to keep the second one. I don't want to take 3 back to the room.
You can have more.
Well, we don't need that many. You can reuse the one. No sense in waste. So beautiful out here. The ocean. God. Well, I mean, I never have experience like this. Oh! It's got sprayed in the eyeball.